Okay, well, all of this was my fault. It's always my fault. I'm the captain of the boat, and so it's always my fault, anything that happens. What happened here is we knew we had these winds, and we were heaved to for over 24 hours waiting to catch this window behind this blow around the capes. And my buddy Richard, who does my weather, told me, you need to be at this waypoint off Cape Blanco between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow. But we were still quite a ways away, like 70-something miles. And I knew I wasn't going to be flying very much sail. So we left at 1 o'clock this afternoon from our heave-to spot, which was just off of Coos Bay, about 40 miles offshore of Coos Bay. And I thought we were going to go slow enough that we just kind of follow that stuff in and make it to our waypoint in the right amount of time. And we hit the winds much quicker, and then once we hit the wind, the boat was going too fast. And at that point, we couldn't really heave to because the seas piled up. It would be very difficult to heave to without a mainsail. We could potentially put out the sea anchor now, but that would really put us at risk as well, and we're already running. So the boat's running okay. It's just very wet. The cockpit isn't really very safe right now, so neither of us are in the cockpit. We're just riding this out. And what I did is I put a warp out the back. We don't have a drogue. Again, another thing that I guess I'll get. I didn't intend to run as a storm tactic on this boat, but running is actually working pretty well with a smaller jib, that's what I'm going to get to, is a small, this storm jib is more like the size of a staysail, in my opinion. So we need a smaller storm jib, and we don't have a trysail, so you can't work the main and the jib against each other to heave to in 40 knots of wind. So what I need is either a trysail or I need a fourth reef in the main. And I'm not sure which I'm going to do. I think I'll just take the sail in and have a fourth reef put in the main and have the reef points really beefed up on that. And I think that'll work really well as essentially as a trysail for this boat. Oh, well, here's a funny little thing that happened. I guess it's funny. If it's all the bad thing that happens in this whole deal, then I'm happy. I was thirsty, and I had sugar-free vanilla Coke in the refrigerator that I had kept cold. And so I knew, you can't just have a can in here. Everything's flying everywhere that's not secured. You can't have anything that's not secured. So I poured it in my Stanley mug that has the screw-on lid that locks down, and I locked it all down, and I set it up on the non-skid stuff in the galley, and I went out to deploy the drogue, and it was really rough at that point. And when I came back down here, the cup was no longer by the sink. It had flown through the cabin and ended up on the nav station upside down with the lid off, and all the Coke all over the nav station and down the side of the nav station and onto the floor. So that's amazing if you think about that, about where that cup had to go in order to end up on the nav station, because it would have had to fly from the galley maybe all the way across, hit the wall on the other side, and then bounce off. The lid, which screws on, came off, and it was upside down, sitting on the nav station, empty. So that'll tell you right there how rough it is right now. Yeah, that's what we're facing right now. Man alive, this is crazy. This is rough. Sure glad I'm not in a little Catalina or something. I'll tell you what, this boat's tough. I'll take you out and see if you can see anything here. Well, when you're fighting a battle like this offshore, it's really not you that is doing anything. You set the boat up, and you just have to trust your boat to withstand what needs to be withstand the waves and the wind. And it's Mig's battle. This is not my battle. This is Mig's battle. I set everything up for her, and I've got to trust her to bring me home safe. And she'll do it. She'll do it. She's a good little boat. Whoa! Oh my gosh. That was big. Here it goes again. Now the autopilot's out there trying to fight to bring us back on course. What happened right there was we're coming down a wave, and the stern, we got going so fast. At one point I caught 12 knots. This boat's hull speed is like 5.5 knots. So it was going 12 knots down a wave, and what happens is the stern starts to slide, and it hits like that, and then the autopilot's trying to bring it back on course. And it's amazing those autopilots can do that. They can bring this back on course after that. It's just amazing. And this autopilot's an old, like 1989 auto-helm tiller pilot, which is very similar to the one we had. We didn't have a tiller pilot, but we had an auto-helm from 1989 on Wandering Dolphin, and it steered us for thousands and thousands of miles, and it was amazing. Listen to that. You can hear it. So yeah, all you people that are dying to go offshore, this is part of it. And if you're not prepared to do this part of it, just get a boat and go lake sailing or stay in the Bahamas. Actually, I've had stuff just getting to the Bahamas like this too. So this is part of it. You can't have one without the other. You can't have the nice sandy beaches, and well, I guess you can if you got the money to hire a delivery skipper. Then you can. Then hire me, and I'll come and I'll deliver your boat in this shit to where you want it to be, and then you can come and enjoy it. But yeah, this isn't fun, I'm telling you. When I say I like offshore, I'm not talking about this stuff. This is not what I enjoy. It's part of it, though. Can't have one without the other. Mig's doing well, though. She's a good little boat. Amazing, amazing little boat. All right, guys. Shutting her down for a minute.
Having a hell of a day out there. Shit. I was in the cabin for a while, and then we had to go out there and help Topher. We took the main down because that autopilot was just working like crazy hard, and it just kept wanting to round us up into the wind. And so we took the main down, and now we just have the storm jib up. So that autopilot's working great, keeping us on course good. And but yeah, these freaking waves are huge, man. These are big old bastards. It's like if you were go outside and sit on the ground, look at the top of your house, and imagine that big wall of water coming at you. That's about what we've got going on here. Every once in a while we get a good wave, bust over the boat, and try to get us all wet and everything. But yeah, it only lasts another day or so, and then we'll be complaining because we ain't got no wind. It might take me a couple of days to stay that, though. I'll be enjoying some of that piece of gum. God, that's a big one. Anyway, just another update. Adios.
Shortly after I filmed this morning sequence and I went down below and closed up the hatches, that MiG was knocked all the way over. We took a giant wave over the whole boat from the side, and that wave had been traveling at a different angle from the rest of them. If you look at these waves, you can see that they're all kind of coming from the stern quarter. And this one came from off to the side, and it knocked us over to starboard, and it knocked the mast all the way down to the water, and the water rolled over the boat, and it sounded like we had just been hit by a locomotive. And that at that point, water poured into Norman's cabin through the sliding hatch. Only a little bit came down below forward. None came through the hatches on MiG or any of the ports, but it did come through the companionway a little bit, and it flooded the cockpit completely. I just want to say that that's one of the things about the North Sea 27 that is exceptional. She was designed with very high secondary stability. She is not wide, she's narrow beam, which means she's very tender and heels over very quickly. She has very little initial stability, and that means that she's not as comfortable in lower winds. But when she gets knocked over in high winds, she's like a weeble wobble, and she just pops right back up. And we saw that weeble wobbling of her through this entire gale, and it was very impressive. The design of this boat is just phenomenal. And I think, in my opinion, I would rather have the less comfort at lower wind speeds and more secondary stability. I believe that had this been a West Sail 32 or one of the other wider beamed boats, maybe an Island Packet 28 or 32, I believe they would have gone all the way over and they would have come back up. But I do believe that knockdown that we faced would have been more catastrophic on a wider beam boat. also wanted to mention something. I've considered not saying anything about it, but it's really kind of getting to me a little bit. I'm getting some negative feedback on some of the songs that I choose, and it really upsets me, guys. I choose those songs because they are special to me. They're something that speaks to me in the moment that I am putting out there for you, and they're emotional to me. Often they are Easter eggs for my wife or my kids or whoever. And there's going to be a sequence coming up at the very end of this with music. And I encourage you to listen to the words, because the words are actually my heart at the moment that I was going through this. They speak to how I felt at that moment. So listen to the words and see if maybe you like the song a little better.
I can't open my hatch because I get water down in here. And, I don't know if I said a while ago, but right now we got pretty much sustained winds in the 30s and 40s, and then gusts in the 50s probably. And it's a wind out there. It's bad. It's bad, bad, bad. But like I say, we're safe and sound in here. Safe as you can be in 40, 50 knot winds in the little 27-foot sailboat. God almighty. But anyway, so hopefully it settles down about 10 hours and we can finally poke our heads up out of this hole. My little cabin, if you look around in here, I got my bed over there, so I put my torso over here last night, and then I had all my other shit over here. I just laid everything over, put my legs and stuff up here against the wall and whatnot. But, and then if you look up here, that's my hatch, where all the water comes pouring in through here, and then through here, water just poured in there. Like it dumped a bucket of water in there. Ain't that some shit? I got my feet are all wet and cold now. So I hate cold, wet feet. That's what I got. You know, get that fixed up here a little bit later. Find me some dry socks somewhere. Boots are getting all wet. But anyway, we got some sunshine out there, which is freaking awesome. But Topher just poked his head in up there. He was wiping off solar panels or something. And he said, Richard, he just talked to Richard, our weather guy. And he said that we got 12 more hours of this shit. But 12 hours is 12 hours. The 12 is better than 24. So by dark tonight, we should be at the end of this shit. And then we'll get around Mendocino Point, he said. It's bad, it's bad. Oh my God. I got cashews and pistachio nuts to eat. I got a meat stick over there. I got a cheese stick. And I got all the Cokes back here. And some sparkly water shit. But I wasn't going to show you this. That's my pee bottle. and then I got this one. It's pretty full. In about 12 hours, I'll be able to put my head up out here and dump those. Oh shit, I'm funny.
This is some rough stuff. Our warps seem to be helping. Rough down here. I can't get Norman to come out of his cabin. I don't blame him. He's all holed up back there, and I think he's feeling pretty safe back there, but this little boat's handling it just fine. It's better than we are. I really would like to go forward and lower the jib a little bit and attach it lower so that the center of gravity was down a little lower. But Norm says that he doesn't think that that's a wise move. He doesn't want to be a part of it. He doesn't want to be a part of me going forward right now. And I guess the trade-off is probably, he's probably right. The amount of good gained by it is probably doesn't outweigh the risk involved in going forward right now, even clipped on. So I'm not going to do it. My wife will be happy to hear that, and my daughter. Here we go.
I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow, can't touch the bottom, sit into a tumble. Waves that shake me out of my skin. Never been so easy, losing my direction. My bearings have me south of home, but I've been wrong before. I was waiting in the undertow, set adrift with featherweight like bones, unaware of where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow. And the water like a friend I've not seen in years, so familiar and strange at once, like a lover who lost her touch. At first I was hesitant, now it seems oh so curious. How'd I